So, good evening, Janine and Rachel. 2nd of June, we're in the exciting
Wow.
June that
Yeah.
so many people have been waiting for. How's your day been so far, ladies?
It's been interesting. I've had an interesting day. I think there's funny energies since the full moon, actually. I think seasonal changes as well. I think everyone's slightly under the weather in some ways because we've got warmer weather. So as soon as something shifts, people do feel, I think, slightly different, and this sea thing is being blamed
Yeah.
quite a lot.
How ridiculous. How ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. I mean, the bombardment is just relentless, absolutely relentless. I think one of my friends, I've got some really good friends that send me good bits of snippets of information, and they sent me one that was on one of our breakfast TV main morning programs that people watch, if the type of person that watches TV in the morning.
Yeah.
And they were saying on this program that, now's probably the time when you should stop socializing or talking to any of your unvaccinated friends. And they're deadly serious. And I got sent this little clip of this brilliant TV presenter. I don't know her name because I don't watch any of this stuff, but she was doing such a good job. There were the presenters and the doctor that's part of this program that advises for the medical advice. And he was so biased towards the vaccine. And she was coming out with all this stuff and they were just completely shouting her down and saying, well, it's no different to the hepatitis vaccine. It's no different than this. You're going mad. And she was going, but it is. But they were not open to listening. Even the doctor, I felt so sorry for her.
Wow.
Whatever she said was not going to be taken on board at all.
Yeah.
So the madness, the monkey madness continues, but hopefully we're going to find out today, not for much longer. So my first question, Janine, is we had last week our absolutely adorable, cuddly Boris married his girlfriend, Carrie Simmons, in a private ceremony in London that happened to be on the same day that all the peace rallies were. So how he got away with that, with all those millions of people in there. So it's all very odd as to why now and what's the significance. So can we ask the cards, what's the significance of that supposedly happening last week? Did it happen? And if so, why? Is it a distraction or what?
It is really weird.
Really weird, isn't it?
Yeah. Two aces.
Ooh.
I think it did happen. Weird. Very strange. It's actually saying it was the woman's idea. Something about the optics of them being married as opposed to not married, maybe because they have a child. Pretty old-fashioned thinking, but no, it looks like it's real. The thing that feels like it's convenient was they likely got married a lot sooner than they're saying. So I feel like they might have given you those photos or the video or whatever they did, but it happened a long time ago. So maybe even I'm thinking February, and I feel like it could have even happened before something happened to him.
It would have had to be well photoshopped because we haven't had any sun for 6 months, and then last weekend was really sunny, and so the photos, that's what I saw. The photos looked like the weather was real, but then look what they can do. If they can make Jim Carrey into Joe Biden, they can do anything, can't they?
No, I think it happened sooner.
Yeah.
Seems like, and we've got the world and the 3. So I'm thinking 3 months ago. I'm thinking February, March. I wonder if there was any sunny days in February. Yeah, that's 3 months ago. I'm getting 3 months ago. And I also get, they were waiting to put it out. So they waited to a good time. And maybe all of those, they wanted to take the attention away maybe from all of the rallies or something maybe.
Well, they weren't reporting on any of the rallies. They still haven't reported on that. But of course, they are reporting on everything else. And are we coming out of lockdown and everything? So you know, it's just so odd, just very odd.
It is odd, yeah. It had something to do with them thinking, them being maybe his government people that sort of create his brand, that they should be married, and the woman pushed for it. So his girlfriend. So that's interesting. That sounds kind of like literally like maybe she thought it's going to look better if we're married and we have a child. Sounds pretty practical, but that's what I'm getting here.
Yeah, I think a lot of these nefarious people, that it's all contracts, isn't it, more than love?
It looks like a practical decision, and it was done 3 months ago, and it feels like they just waited for an opportune time to tell everybody.
Yeah.
You could so easily Photoshop the people onto a different background anyway, couldn't you?
You can. Yeah.
So
wow. I wonder if the child is even theirs anyway.
Yeah, it's interesting because he's in control. He's been controlled by the White Hats. I got surrendered to, and they might have even thought we need to do this for some reason. Part of the movie. He's in control. He's controlled by the White Hats is what I get. But I've got that for a long time. Yeah, so maybe that's part of their optics, that they thought for some reason they're gearing up for something. I don't know what.
Do you mind asking if she's controlled by the White Hats?
Okay. What do you guys know about her?
You know more than I do, don't you, Rachel?
Yeah, she was employed by Maxwell.
Ghislaine Maxwell, apparently.
Ghislaine, yeah. Yeah. She's supposedly a honey bunny.
Okay, she's really doesn't like the control of the White Hats. She's fighting it, all these fives. So she fights it. So they're in control of Boris, but she's not on board. So she's manipulative and hard to work with, but of course they probably got her on a tight leash.
I hope so.
She doesn't like that, like she's controlled by them under duress, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's not okay. What's that?
I said I wouldn't want to be in Boris's shoes. That serves him right, doesn't it? So
yeah,
he's got his
not okay with it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Gosh. Oh, that's interesting, actually.
Yeah.
Thank you. Interesting. Mystery deeper.
Wow. So next question on Macron in France. He has locked down or created a curfew in France. And I'm just wondering if we can ask the cards what's behind that side on the European front.
And aren't they almost like the whole country's almost creating a coup? Like the last I looked, France was going nuts.
Yeah.
About like just not putting up with this.
I think Italy and France are really good examples. I think one of them poured concrete in the house at the Houses of Parliament gates, and then I think was it the French that poured all their manure, and it was all the farmers protesting against it. They just dumped a whole load.
Okay, more of that, I say, more of that.
Yeah.
Okay, this is really weird. So the person you're talking about isn't around. So whatever's being presented as that person, I'm thinking they're pushing up daisies. I mean, we got some really gone cards. This is usually this card. So my version of passing over is not the death card. It's actually the moon. But if you have them both together in a reading, you're for sure looking at somebody's gone by way of leaving the earth plane. They're leaving their body. That's a strategy by the good guys, whatever's going on. So they want everybody to rise up, pour concrete and spread manure around. Yeah. They want you to do that.
Good.
Yeah, it's like, show us that you're in charge of this. Don't let these foolish little tiny handful of creepy deep staters rule your life. What are we doing? What are we doing? Yeah.
Interesting.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
It's so
What's that?
interesting. So on that note then, one of my questions that one of my readers wrote in, Robin wrote in and asked, she's been asked this a couple of times, is have any of the military tribunals started for the UK people? So that could be anything. Obviously, it could be the royals, it could be the politicians, anyone who's been involved in this whole corruption over the years.
Yes. First card was a yes. Second card was the Queen.
What does the Queen mean?
Well, she's asking if any of these, so she's definitely been tribunaled.
Oh,
Yes. A really, really powerful woman who's like an empress. Well, that's the Queen.
yeah.
So, and lots of them have been making deals. So they're cutting deals and discussing things with a whole bunch of other ones. 8. And I know for sure that Prince Philip, like the intel on him's been pretty consistent. He went a long time ago and he agreed to, very similar to George Bush Sr., he agreed to like be taken out probably with, you know, I don't know, some kind of injection is what I'm thinking.
I think
Because otherwise he'd be alive when all the stuff came out about him, which they don't want to be. I mean, personally, I think they should be, but
Yeah.
they don't want to be. But I bet they made them say things before or sign things.
yeah. I think as part of their outgoing, as part of
Yeah.
free will, that they
Yeah.
do choose how they die, I think.
Yeah. And there's a whole bunch of people making deals in the background and trying to scrambling. But the most important one to note is, yeah, the Queen was, she's dealt with. So now they just got to figure out a way to exit her. I'm sure they got that all worked out.
I'm sure that's all worked out. Yeah, you can say it'll be the Indian variant, won't it, Rachel? Probably caught by all those people who haven't been Jabberwockied. It'd be our fault, whatever happens.
We might be the Somerset variant or the Essex variant or the Scottish variant or the Wales or Welsh variant. You never know, you know, what's next.
Probably a Corgi variant with her.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Can't wait until it's televised though. That would be, I'm looking forward to that.
Yes, please. I hope they filmed it all. I'm sure
I do too.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't watch much television, but I'll be watching that.
So,
we're all going to be watching that.
Yeah, too right. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, I can't wait. It would be so exciting. But yeah, in terms of, there is a bigger discussion around this, and I thought it was quite fascinating. But in terms of the tunnels and all these lovely earthquakes that are happening to demolish whatever they're doing, I don't know if specifically in the UK, if we can confirm what percentage approximately of these have been cleared out here.
I remember we got that London was going to be left to the last because it was just a mess.
Yeah.
And there were so many things going on. And it was also hostile territory, fully still controlled in a way by the dark cult. But that was some months ago I got that.
Yeah. And that was when all the smoke was coming out of the Houses of Parliament. There was lots of smoke coming out. People were filming it.
Very interesting. Well, they've been working on it. That's moving things out of troubled water. Oh boy, they're still getting lots of pushback though. This is the last big hold, one of their last big holds, the bad guys.
Wow.
But they're definitely, I'd say they got about at least 20% of it in the UK. So they haven't got as much as like, I think they started in North America, I'm thinking, or maybe Australia.
Mm.
A lot of people think they started in Australia because
Yeah.
that was a really big mess. I think they left the UK for the last, or at least London, and London has the most, is what I'm thinking. And this card says, well, they're somewhat towards it, but this card might be a 20% card. It's definitely not half or anything.
Wow. Yes, so bless them. They've got a way to go then.
Yeah, they're working on it though. This is a work in progress.
Yeah.
They're doing all kinds of areas at once is what I'm getting. I also get it's really unique somehow. The network is really unique in London. And what we got around that, I think it was Ashley and I on a deep dive. And what I think that means is like a lot of the entrances are in buildings.
Yeah.
Really old buildings. And there's certain symbology on the building somewhere or something you can look for to know what's going on there and how to get to what's going on. So that's a big problem because now they got to enter buildings. They can't do it like in northern Canada where a lot of stuff was going on. It's all in nature.
Yeah.
So they can enter it like in Banff. You could enter it, a little more discreetly.
Yeah.
London, you literally have to shut the city down to be able to enter some of these places because they're going to notice a whole bunch of army special ops looking people, no matter what time of the day or night, going in to these buildings. Right. So that's a problem.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
And there's so many buildings in London with such a long, long history as well.
Yeah.
That, that makes complete sense. That really does. So, yeah.
The bank, I remember the banks that, there's something I remember from, I don't know if it was a video or something that I saw, but there was something to do with some of the plaques or carvings inside in the big bricks of the bank's buildings in London.
And do you remember, on Harry Potter, the movie, you just reminded me of something. They had all this banking system going on underground. Do you remember that? And I think, wasn't it like some kind of creatures running the banks underground and running this whole system underground? And there was a railway underground on Harry Potter. I think she was telling us something there.
They definitely had hidden underground lines, didn't they? Which would make complete sense, and we see those in James Bond as well, which is another trigger. So there's just a whole it's such a huge network under London. I mean, it's absolutely enormous. The bits we know about are big enough, let alone the bits we don't know about. So.
And interestingly, there's a lot of rivers underneath London as well. So it would actually go very nicely with the Harry Potter and them kind of, going along underneath in their little boats to go and collect their whatever it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've never really seen them. So, okay, wow. That's a bit annoying. 20%. I'm not good on 20%. I want more. Hurry up, guys, please. Whatever you can do, just get on with it.
Okay, let me just for fun. I'm going to literally tell the cards, so the greater universe, to get more specific about percentage. It's the page, so it's not all done, but let's get a specific number because there's a way to do that with certain cards. So I'm gonna be really specific. Sometimes you got to just really be specific, see if we can get it. So I've been getting sixes. 6 and an ace, 6 and an ace. Oh, no, I think it's more. I think it's more than half. I think it's slightly more than half.
Good.
Okay, but maybe they're saying 20 because I got on the topic of London. Maybe we were talking 20% of London.
Yeah.
Because such a large chunk of it's in London.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but no, all over the UK, we got 2 6s here and an ace. So I'm going to go with 60%.
Yeah.
Overall.
Underneath the, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, underneath the Brecon Beacons. I think there's routes to Ireland and then down to London, etc. I remember Jean Decode talking about them.
Oh, and wait a minute, London isn't technically part of the UK. It's that
No.
separate entity, just like DC.
Well,
And
the
don't-
city you've got a lot of London is part of the UK. It is
Okay.
a bit different to DC, isn't it, Rachel? So you've
It's-
got the city of London where all the bank can go, but then you've got the main business, which is very
Okay.
much part of the UK.
Okay. I think
I
DC is
understand.
about 16 square miles, something like that. And then London is 1 square mile, which is where the various banks
okay, well,
are.
that might be where most of them are.
Mm.
Yeah.
Not to kid, like that would make sense. Like,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Gosh.
So 20% for.
Sorry, carry on.
No, I was just going to round it off to 20% for the nefarious non-UK London, and then 60% for the rest of the UK.
yeah, let's go with that.
We like that. We like that.
That's a bit better.
Yeah.
So, yeah. The next question is a little bit of a diversion, but something that Rachel and I have been talking to about quite a bit. So they're really pushing the environmental agenda. Obviously, it's a major push by the deep state. Can we ask about electric cars? Are electric cars part of the deep state agenda, and are they safe? Because a lot of natural health practitioners think that they really cause cancer, for example. But they're being really pushed now, and a lot of the big companies are only allowing their staff to have electric cars and things. So there's a huge push on them here.
They're definitely deep state. Yeah, but there's something going on with the good guys that if we're patient, that agenda is going to get sidetracked. We're going to need patience, but that's going to be dealt with. So I don't know how, but maybe there's a better, safer electricity. Because we know there's a lot of technology we don't know about that's already in use. We know that so many things have been hidden from humans, and all the stuff bad for us is pumped at us, thanks to the deep state dark cult. So we know that. So I think there's a different thing going to roll out that might be equivalent or better. Well, way better. Yeah, because it's saying just be patient. That's going to be rectified by these guys. So I feel like there's and don't forget that this is my white hats good guys card, Mr. T and the white hats I used to call it. But also we've discovered that there's off-worlders and other dimensional beings included in those white hats, right? Yeah. So they probably have something to replace that with.
Yes, it's really good because it's so awful when you see so many people think that they're really doing that. It's like everything, they convince people that they're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And it's almost sort of like emotional blackmail, and the companies are really pushed in when it's actually the opposite. So it's all this upside down, topsy-turvy stuff again.
We're getting so gaslighted. And I was just talking about that on my Tarot by Janine this morning, like the US, it's the Dems are gaslighting, like everything. Well, and we found out that a lot of Republicans are kind of scummy too. Yeah. Governments, okay, in particular the Dems, because they're totally bought out by the deep state, clearly, but a whole bunch of Republicans are too. We need all new governments because they've been gaslighting us for thousands of years since government was invented. It was invented to gaslight people, and they make us the bad guys instead of them. It's unbelievable. It's like, are you guys kidding? Yeah. Like none of it's true. It's turn it all up on its upside down, because we're discovering that it's all absolutely been false. So if they're saying that, it's the exact opposite.
Yeah.
So not for now. Don't buy an electric car now.
No, I wouldn't. I'd wait on everything like that. Don't get any jabs whatsoever, and I'm not, if you do whatever you want, but I'm just saying my humble opinion, like you don't do stuff like that right now. Don't trust any big pharma or any government. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
No way. Yeah. We've just found out we're in a war state. a spiritual war. Just trust your intuition and guts and deep inner knowing, and your connection to spirit. Work on that.
Yeah.
Soul connection to nature and spirit. That's all you can trust right now. And people that you love and who love you back, and they respect your opinions and stuff. Because I'm not trusting people that aren't getting it either, because they're like a reflection of all this gaslighting. So even if you love them, I'm stepping away from any of their opinions. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Like the
Don't
sleep,
go there.
like thanks, but yeah, no thanks.
It's quite good fun to do it back at them, actually. I'm quite enjoying it.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
Bit of, back at you. Yeah.
My grandma was really good at saying, okay, goodbye.
Yeah.
Catch you later.
Yeah, bless her. Actually, it leads quite nicely into my next question, actually, because a lot of people are feeling quite stuck in their kind of 9-to-5 job, and really wanting kind of humanitarian, events to come along, so that we can actually really start helping each other, kind of building communities and, setting the light alight with, just helping each other more than anything, and sorting out a load of all this mental health issues, etc. And I'm just wondering, so in the next 2 months, will the general lovely people who understand truth, etc., will we see grants starting to appear? Whether we call it grants or I don't know what it's going to be called.
Well, there looks like there's a lot more abundance already, because that's a huge abundance card, the sun. And here we've got people talking, writing, and putting it out there. So that's a whole lot of ideas floating around about it. And there's going to be a whole lot of people talking about the changes that have occurred by then. I think we're going to reach our 10% that I think we need to tip everything over, so everybody else kind of wakes up. Human race is so funny. It's like, as soon as you get that 10%, the whole thing, so 10%, it seems like a lot, but I think we're close to it. I really do. I think we're close. I'm going to say yes. It looks like, yeah. There is a whole lot more to work with. Also, a lot of things to the positive are happening around debt forgiveness by then. Right? There was even an article somebody sent me. This gal named Marie, she always watches everything I say. She's got a really great memory, and then she checks all the news stories and everything. And she always mentions when I get something right, which I love. It's so sweet, because you're pretty quick to tell me, oh, that didn't happen yet. That didn't. It's like, wait, just wait. But anyway, she's quick to tell me what I got right, which is really fun. Sometimes I forget I even said that, and then she tells me. So she just sent me something that was 2 or 3 different colleges in the US, or universities, were debt forgiving for the last 2 years. So anybody that created debt as a student for 2021 and 2020, 2020 and 2021, they were wiping it out. Well, that's a start. And things are, I think we're going to hear more of that. I really do. I was getting that a couple days ago too, and Tarot by Janine, I was just getting that are the first big signs. And I've been getting emails from people that all of a sudden their mortgage was forgiven. Like, interesting. It's mostly happening in the States.
Yeah.
I had a couple of interesting experiences with credit cards dropping right out of, like, as if I'd paid them off, which I hadn't. So that was interesting. So I think there's certain banks that are already dealing with possibly have already switched over, or have been told that they need to forgive certain things, because a lot of debt has been illegal. And people need to not sit around thinking, oh, lucky us. Well, that it is great, but we've been absolutely pillaged for thousands of years. They better be coughing up some of that, right? They've been living off the backs of the human race. They being those those families and all their connections. Do you know what I'm talking about? And in particular, like those families are who's making up the banking families. So anybody connected to the Federal Reserve, they deserve to be wiped out. They've been wiping out just regular folks and holding all of humanity down for thousands of years.
Yeah, and making people homeless.
Yeah, they're totally deserve to be they're like this. The wheel of fortune always flips no matter what. You're not always on the top. Okay, so they've been making sure they're on the top. Not literally, because I don't think I wouldn't want their lives, honestly,
Right.
like to be like a person who cares that much about stuff, that human life, children, babies, your connection to source is all you know, like you're giving all of that up to have a lifetime of decadence and overindulgence. That's pathetic. I can't even think of a lonelier, more isolating, pathetic life. And if you look at even that, what's his name, that really old guy that's can't remember his last name, super famous last name. You guys know what I'm talking about. Somebody stopped him on, what's that?
Rothschild.
Yep, somebody stopped him on the street. Just look what he looks like. Like, does that look like a happy guy to you? Okay, so he might have the most art and the most, you know what I mean? Who cares? In eternal life, none of that matters.
Reminds me of the film. Do you remember the film Brewster's Millions? And he has to spend X amount of money in a certain amount of time, and then he gets given all this money. But this chap says, you know, you don't really want it because you know what it's like to have to spend all this money. But it was like this fruitless journey at the end of it. It was a really lovely lesson, actually. But Bruce, it's a really old film. Yeah, it's
awesome. Okay, well, I'll have to look it up.
So, moving on from that theme then, we've all been taught, obviously, again, the inversion that, you know, a huge 70 to 90% of our DNA is junk DNA and we're not using it, or a lot of us aren't using it. Yeah. So can the cards say when a lot of this for sort of the general public will be activated, or certainly for the weight people? I think a lot of people are feeling a lot of activations anyway. But any clues about what this will really do for the human race? So we're going to see some big transformations about the way we live as humans within the next year.
So what you said about the junk is all a big lie.
Yeah.
Created by deep state, dark cult. It's a big lie. So yes, we'll be at the beginning of recognizing. And I think the more we give ourselves permission and speak about it as if it's already something, it becomes more so. It's like if you start saying you're using more and more of your intelligence, if you start saying and giving yourself permission to be more, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I think ourselves need permission for things too. Like, it's weird. It's weird. It's all a ritual. Like we need to give ourselves permission to know more. Like I used to always, well, I was brought up believing I was kind of a dummy. I was in remedial classes, always in Canada in the 70s, 80s, 90s. They had these classes, kind of like the show. I don't know if you know this, but Sweat Hogs. That's a US show. Okay. So it was a sitcom and it was a joke about all the dummies in school that couldn't get on board with the agendas, the really square agendas. All my friends were really, really smart, by the way, intellectually smart, or at least they were good at going along with the agendas that school was pushing. And I wasn't. I was like, all of this is a waste of my time. And so I got put in remedial classes. Okay. The only ones I excelled at were psychology, of course, sociology, things like that. Anything to do with humans, I was really good at, or psychological insights, and art, of course. Okay, so everything else I was put in these classes that were literally for dummies. And in my whole life, I was told I wasn't that bright. Okay, so it was good though, because it forced me, like I finished, high school, thank goodness. And just because, it just helps. It feels really bad when you don't even finish high school, but some people don't. And I can see why they don't, because if you're not buying the whole narrative, what's been pushed on you. And I wasn't very good at listening to authority, obviously. But the good news was I got out of there with my intuition intact and made my whole living from my intuition, which is what the universe wanted me to do anyway.
Yeah.
Right. So I was like made to go a certain direction. And because of it, I'm on this show right now and way smarter than everybody else because I didn't listen to any of that stuff. I wasn't indoctrined like everybody else. None of it rang true. My soul right from the get-go was like, okay, plug your ears, plug your ears, plug your ears. We're not listening to that.
Yeah.
And I thank goodness I was really socially able because that's really important. And I was a social genius, to be honest, I was. And I just knew exactly how to just get along, do is enough to just pass barely or charm them into giving me a mark because they liked me. And I'm not kidding. And that's how I got through high school. And you know what? I'm so glad that happened to me now, but I've always felt like a complete idiot. Now I'm completely the smartest of everybody in my family. I'm the most successful. That sounds braggy, but it's true. So they're all in these square jobs and they're doing they followed all the rules and nothing's working out for anybody because they never listened to their intuition or they stopped listening to it somewhere. Yeah. And I'm the dummy in the family. Oh, that's weird because I'm doing the best of everybody. I'm the healthiest and probably the happiest and smile the most. Okay, how am I the dummy here? Okay, so a lot of us have to really look at what's really going on. Everything we thought was true is totally the opposite. Okay, yeah. It's all the opposite. And that's going to be really hard pill to swallow for all the sleepers.
But you were a fighter as well.
Yeah. Oh, I liked myself, and that, thank goodness, that saved me because I just didn't buy that there was anything wrong with the way I was. No, I at 24/7, I was told there was, in a way, that all of society, they don't. All the banks always told me I couldn't get a mortgage. I'm 60. I've never owned any property. I had to fight even to buy a new car when I first did, because even though I might have money in the bank and everything, I don't have the kind of income they're looking for because I'm a tarot card reader. Okay, so I just never fit in any categories. And there's a lot of people like that. And I'm glad because now the new categories, we're going to be in charge of them.
I love it. I love it.
We're not going to abuse it though, but we're going to be in charge of the new world. Okay. Everybody who didn't fit in, guess what?
Yeah. But there's more
I always have such a laugh when you have to fill in forms like at the airport or something. Yep. It says your profession. And of course, there's nothing that remotely describes what any of us do on the form.
I know.
So I have such fun making it up. So yeah.
Just try it.
I think on the other side, I mean, obviously on the other side of us doing our ego dance and we told you so, there's going to be more forgiveness and yeah, there's that kind of, there's more love in that environment than there is, in this nefarious, evil, upside down, tipsy topsy world.
Yeah.
Currently. Yeah. But it's fascinating. I mean, I'm similar to you in that sense as well. So, but yeah, it's that there's definitely a lot of fight in me.
So Rachel, there wasn't like a spot for putting down that you were a fairy. You couldn't do that because you're like a fae people to me. You're like a magical, just a magical person. I have a daughter who's totally a fairy person, and I totally get that with you too. I hope I didn't step the line there, but that's how I see you. You are definitely of some other kind of realm, in my personal opinion. And I bet a lot of people couldn't sort of put you in a slot of any kind because you're just super unique that way. You could literally be from the fairy people.
I'd be happy to be part of the fairy people. I think I've got lots of angels around me as well. They help me all the time. Yeah, and it's so lovely. Yeah. Oh, how lovely. Thank you. I feel touched. It's a very exciting world, though.
Yeah, it is an exciting world, and we're all here. Like we were placed here, obviously, and in this time, and that's even why we're all on this show together. Like we were placed to, share our wisdom. And it's so exciting that we're being seen as somebody wants to hear from us. Like, it's so great that that shifted, and our wisdom's being respected. I feel so honored that that's happening.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Yeah.
There's a big shift. There really is a big shift in the people matter.
Yeah.
Your turn next, Rachel.
Oh, is it mine? Sorry, I'm got carried away there. Okay. To understand. I can't remember where we got to, sorry. In terms of, no, I know, and I'm really excited about this, but I actually don't know if we can ask the cards these questions. But there are sightings, when we have a full moon, apparently there is sometimes a reflection of the earth on the moon, and the surface of the earth, of what they can see on the moon in the reflection, is bigger land mass wise than what we know. And I know that the North Pole and the South Pole, etc., are no-fly go zones, and there is this, additional Atlanta, whatever it is, additional lands. I'm not sure, and I think Jaco asked this question about the additional lands, and I'm not sure whether it's being energetically blocked, but I was just wondering, if we could read anything into those kind of the other lands of what we see in the reflection from the moon.
Okay. So I'm basically asking it like, is the way we see the globe and what's been presented to us true, or is it more like what you're saying? There's way more land mass and it's being kept from us.
Brilliant. That would be so exciting.
So we've got an ace. Oh, it's definitely bigger. It's bigger and more like the amount of space here is way more than we've been told. So, because this card's really big and so is this card. So we've got these really big, this card's like everything. Like it's 10, so it's everything, and she's really huge and powerful. And then we've got another 10. So, because it can't answer literally, we're definitely been fooled. We've been told a certain thing that suited some people, right? So we've been told, we've been led in a certain direction. There's a whole bunch of military activity that looks like it goes on in the places that they're not telling us about. So they got all this activity going on. There could even be war zones, like where there's, okay, this is owned by a certain country and this is owned, and they even have wars amongst themselves. Like it feels like they're duking it out, who owns what on those lands that we're not even told exist, like that, right? So that's interesting.
Because the Nazis might have gone there. Instead of going down into these tunnels, potentially, the Nazis could have hidden there, couldn't they?
Yep. And a lot of people thought they did. Yeah. So there's a really, really wealthy person in particular that's taken a real beating lately, but owned a lot of that land. But they're on their last hold. So I wonder if that's got something to do with the Soros connection, or I got a feeling of somebody as powerful as Soros or more powerful, or a group of these men maybe. And this card here, which is like, but they're on their last, so they're holding on for dear life. That's maybe their last stronghold. Maybe that's where a lot of them fled to. Ashley had a client who was, and of course I won't say their name or anything, but they had a lot of connections, big connections in Hollywood. And they said, nobody is left in Hollywood. Everyone's place is up for sale. Everyone's selling, everyone fled. And there's all of these stories and rumors that easily can be proved to be not true. Like, oh, when you ask, where's this person? Oh, they're in Canada filming, but they're not. They're in this place and this place. They're all out of Dodge. So where did they go? So some people say they went to New Zealand because there's a lot of bunkers in New Zealand for really wealthy people built bunkers. Well, maybe some of them went there, but I think those bunkers might lead to other places.
Yeah.
Antarctica, right? Because that, I feel like that's a whole, there's all these, I'm getting the feeling that there's all these separate lands there and they're infighting. And yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on we don't even know about. And I feel like there's a war zone there right now.
Because I remember that in this book, they were talking about the indigenous people would walk for, it was like something like 15 days. And then they would reach the inside of, I don't know, wherever this land was. Yeah, I mean, there's fascinating stories all about it.
Mm-hmm.
Which also,
well, there's so many things hidden from us. It'll be fascinating to find out some of this stuff, hey?
Which also means all the population, the world population figures we've been told are completely made up.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Why would they tell us the truth? They didn't tell us the truth about anything. And that also feeds into their, global warming agendas and their agendas around, oh yeah, humans, like, we're all like ruining everything and blah, 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 blah. It's like, I just don't buy it. Yeah, we can definitely be like, there's ways to live healthier and there's ways, absolutely. But we're not, it's nothing like they're saying. Their agendas are pushed on us for their own reasons. They have nothing to do with the stories they're telling us. That's the part that really bugs me.
Yeah. No,
absolutely. Well, last question for me. Right, which one should I pick? Because we've got so many. Let's have a look. Oh, so it's just so many different things that are sort of coming up. In terms of we're getting lots of questions about what's going to happen within the next sort of 6 months, the rest of this year. So can we ask whether for the general population, whether they're going to have a significant positive change to their way of living before the end of 2021?
That's a good one. Yep. It's very unique though. And there's all kinds of unique things. It's like a whole bunch of unique information comes out that could be, this could be like, because this card can be about exotic and unique. Okay, so that's a bit weird. And I don't have time to explain how I get that here, but just trust me on this. And all my students that took my tarot classes, they all know why I call it that. It has something to do with the Thoth deck that I originally studied on. But anyway, so this is telling me that there's going to be a lot of stressful information to digest for a lot of people, right? Because you're talking about the whole world. So there's, remember, only 10, we're close to 10%, I think, awake people. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but I think it's close to 10. I want it to be close to 10, so I'm going to say that. Yeah. Okay, so that's how I work, right? I talk about it, what happens. Okay, that's my MO, and guess what? It's been working my whole life. Okay, so this feels like there's going to be a lot of stressed out people because they found out that there's like otherworldlies walking among us. There's the whole world's different than they thought. The government's been lying to us since the beginning of time. The mainstream media is all a lie. So that's going to be troublesome, but it looks like it's largely come out. Yeah, and a whole bunch of people have been, or we're going to know about a whole lot of people being processed or having had processing done, or the lies of a whole bunch of government officials and elites or people that we used to call royal families and stuff. I refuse to call them royals anymore. What the heck? Why would anyone even let themselves be called a royal? So you're royal? Anyone with any connection to source knows that they're no better or worse than anybody else. It tells you right there's something wrong with people that would even agree to that. Have people bow in front of them? That's just weird. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think if we should just skip together more than anything.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Be more fun skipping. I'm going to call it.
we're going to be in better shape, and there's a lot more money for the general population floating around. And not to say that solves all your problems, but it could take away, like if everyone gets a chance to have things and be more comfortable, okay, it makes it less desperate and a lot less likely you're going to have, like, because now all those deep staters and dark cultures, they're not the only ones with the means. In fact, they're the ones who don't have it anymore. And it feels like it'll help the whole world just get over, being sort of doing dirty things for money. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Being, like all that illegal stuff, and like, because if you look at any bad situation that happened in the world, what does everyone tell you? Follow the money if you want to find out who did it. Yeah. So if everyone has more access to more and the world is abundant like it was meant to be, I have a feeling a lot of the criminal element disappears.
Well, people intrinsically don't really want to be nasty to each other. In our nature, we don't, absolutely.
Yeah. I think it'll bring out something else in everybody. I think it'll bring out a more creative way of just being with each other. Let's hope anyway. Let's work towards that.
Yeah, absolutely. Lovely. Thank you.
But then when we are pushed in a corner, and all this nefarious activity, when all the news comes out, there is going to be a lot more understanding. There's going to, well, I hope so, because that's how I see things happening, definitely. Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of people really, really angry at the elites, though.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. When I was
going to be pissed. Yeah. It's like their heart's broken because they've bought into a narrative their whole life, and it's completely at their expense and their relatives' expense and their future children's expense, and their, you know what I mean? And they've been sold out right from their birth certificates, like all of that coming out. I love it. It's like more people need to know that, so we can stand up to anybody trying to get taxes out of us illegally. And like, they're going to have to redo how they do taxes. I don't mind paying for roads need built and this and that, but there's no way do I want the royal family to get my taxes, or any royal families to get my taxes, or my birth certificate to be sold on the market. So all of that's got to stop.
Yeah. Absolutely. The 10% thing, I was thinking about icebergs. Icebergs, you can only see 10%, can't you? So I was going to call it the iceberg effect.
Awesome. Okay.
Oh, fantastic. Is it my turn?
Yeah. Last one from you, Rachel.
Thank you. Just can we go back to the other lands, because it does really intrigue me. Would it be possible to find out on these other lands that we've been lied about, essentially, are there these lovely extraterrestrial, whatever we call them, these lovely aliens, are they there as well?
It was largely used and abused by bad ones for a really long time. That's in the past.
Yeah.
And now going forward, so there's all kinds of new good energy going forward. So that's a yes. There's benevolent and good ones have moved in. This is well aspected. So she's not always bad. She's often really, really good. But when we had her in connection to Queenie, talking about, she was bad, but now she's good. So it's saying, there's these benevolent sort of races and or groups of people that might not be humanoids, right? If that's what you mean, right? Yeah. So they've moved in. Some energies have moved in. Maybe it's a really good landing place because it's less obvious, right? Because they don't want to just land, somewhere out in the open, right? So that's probably a lot of coming and going, but it was really bad for a long time. Like, because that was in the past. So it was largely occupied by the bad guys, both off worlds and on worlds. So we've got, they got some cleanup to do there.
Right.
There's still some cleanup to do. It's a lot of hard work, but they're really close to the end of that. So that's interesting.
Ooh. That's fascinating.
And it's going to be a whole new like there's going to be, there's even places where they grow really interesting food or have the ability to, like there's going to be really interesting positive use for the land. This is a beautiful part about growing things. And there's even like things that grow there that might change our health and wellness to the good. So that's interesting. I feel like there's all this, a whole different ability to grow really healthy food there is what I'm getting.
But there were reports of this light, that it wasn't really a sunshine, but it was just everything was really bright.
Wow.
In this place.
Huh.
Mm.
Well, it makes sense because, you know, hopefully it's been largely untouched by humans because, you know, hopefully there haven't been too many there, and so we haven't had too much of a chance to screw it up. So, yeah. Oh, lovely. Well, thank you so much. There's lots of positives in there, lots and lots of positives.
And thanks for bringing that to us, Rachel, because I had no idea about that.
That was amazing. I actually thought it was going to be blocked. I thought you were going to say, no, it's not. We're not allowed. We're not allowed.
Oh, no, it's like a whole bunch of stuff flooding in about that. That's fast. I almost felt like I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, it's a whole different, I feel like, you know, the movie Shangri-La, that really old movie where you walk past some mist in the mountains and you got to a whole nother place that you didn't even know existed. Okay, I feel like that's the potential of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can see it in my mind's eye, definitely.
So can I, and all the different creatures that are there that are undiscovered. Yeah, it's going to be great. Yeah.
Giant.
Oh,
but they're telling us, oh, it's just ice and snow and cold and you're going to freeze there. And it's hilarious. We've been lied to so much.
Yeah.
Oh, I literally get that. That was just the cover up for it because they didn't want you going there. They want to discourage you.
Wow.
Completely. It's worked, but not anymore. Not anymore. But it'll be there. So yeah.
Yes.
Oh, thank you so much, ladies. Thank you so much. Lots of positive news. Stay away from electric cars for now. And yeah, let's bring those timelines forward as much as we can, eh?
Yeah. It's June already. Can you believe it?
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I'm loving it.
Enjoy the sunshine, everyone. I think we've all had bits of sunshine over the last week. So yeah, let's bring that sunshine out.
I'm telling you, like when I sit in the sun, I just know it's healing. And we were told it wasn't all this time. And I just know that's not true. Yeah,
absolutely. Forget the suntan cream and just do it in small bits and just absorb.
Yeah, that cream might actually be killing us.
Oh, it completely is. I mean,
probably the thing causing the skin cancer. I don't buy anything big pharma tells, like 1,000%. Like we are they're completely trying to wipe us out or make us their customers for life. I mean, that just makes sense. If anyone doesn't see that, then they're not really using their noggin, really.
Yeah, but then not for long, not for long. Oh, that's so lovely, folks. Thank you so much. We'll have a really lovely week, everyone. You have a lovely day, Janine. It's our evening here now. Lovely evening here. And we will speak next week.